Hi everyone. Monday's rolled around again. I had a busy weekend. I worked most of the weekend, and then Mother's Day. Who went and seen their mums for Mother's Day, and what did they get up to? We went out and had some lunch at the farm and spent some time with her out there. It was a nice day. It was a bit cold, but who went and saw concerts over the weekend? I know there were a lot on. We had some live streams coming from the Country Kickback page from Hayley Jensen's show. And I'm trying to think what else was on over the weekend. I know that there was some Catherine Britt ones on the weekend. Who else was on? Tell me who you went and seen. Hi, James. How you going? So tonight we've got Pete Denahy joining us. He's just got back from Japan and going to tell us what he was been up to over there. If we're lucky, he might do a song for us. So if you've got any questions or anything you want to let him talk to him about, pop them on the stream and we will ask as we go. We might welcome him into the room. Hi, Pete. How you going?
Hello, Danny. Hello, anybody who's tuned in. Good evening.
Thank you for joining us. Everybody who is tuning in, make sure you say hi because, again, we can't see who's on anymore with the new program because we're streaming across the two streams. So jump on, say hi, and if you have anything you want to know, just ask. So,
just
Pete.
Be careful with it. Yes.
There's some things you won't answer?
No, it's fine. I'll answer anything.
Hi, Brett. How you going? And he said, Brett says hi, Danny and Superstar Pete.
Oh, hello, Brett. Oh, right, that's came up. All right.
Yeah.
This is very, this technology I haven't seen before, yeah.
That's all right. And Jamie Lee's jumped on and said hi. So, hi, Jamie Lee. Tell us, Pete, you've just got back from Japan.
Yeah, I've been doing, taking groups of Australians over there to check out the bluegrass, predominantly the bluegrass scene, but also the country scene in Japan. And a lot of people find that their initial reaction is to have a chuckle at that because it's not the sort of the first thing you think of when you think of Japan. But there's a really strong bluegrass scene over there and some really great musicians and devotees of that style. And also in the country scene as well. We saw a really great country band in Tokyo. There's a fellow there by the name of Dicky Kitano, who always puts together a great band. And when I contact him and say we're coming over, he find a little venue and then he throw a band together. And his band the other night was him. He plays lead and sings. He's got bass, drums, fiddle player and a pedal steel player, really good pedal steel player. And you're sitting in this tiny little restaurant in the middle of Tokyo listening to really great country music. So it's... And then you'll be in a little restaurant in Hiroshima, say. I've got a really good mate down there who's a great mandolin player, and he'll always throw a little band together, and we do a gig together down there. And so I take about 10 or 15 people away, and we just have a ball. And we had a crack of a group this time, and that's 7 trips I've done over there now.
7 trips taking people away. Have you lost anyone? Have you brought them all back each time?
Have I lost anyone while I'm there?
Yeah. No, you brought them all back.
That's sorry, now I just had a little bit of a glitch there. You asking me, have I lost anyone in Japan?
Yes. Did you?
I nearly did on the first trip. There was the first bullet train ride, my first ever trip, and not my first trip. I mean, I'm half Japanese. I've been there a heap of times, but the first group. And we're on the platform, and one lady wasn't there when we're getting on the train. And I said, "Oh, where is she?" And they said, "Well, she was just behind me coming up the lift." And I said, "Look, everyone get on the train." I said, "Worst case scenario, I'll catch the next one, and I'll go and find her. I'll catch the next one with her, and I'll be 40 minutes behind you."
Yep.
And I ran down looking for her, and then I knew I had about a 5-minute window with this train because trains are always on time in Japan.
Oh, wow.
And I went over to the other platform and ran up and down that, didn't see her, came back, went to the lift, went to the escalator, went to the stairs, couldn't see her, and I thought, right, this is... a nightmare for me, my first trip, and this is what's happened. I went back to the train ready to tell all my group that you'll go, can you get my suitcase off the rack when you get there? I'll be 40 minutes behind you. Not knowing, like, once they get to the other end and they'd have to sit in a station in a country they've never been to for 40 minutes wondering where their leader is, you know. And I got to the train and I looked up the platform, and there she was with the bag, my lost traveller, at about 3 cars up, and she's sort of looking around, and I just pointed, get on, and she got on, I got on, and then the door shut and the train took off, and that's how close that was. So so that was on my very first trip, and I've never got close to that happening again. So no, that's where the only time I nearly lost someone. Haven't lost anyone, and I don't intend to. It really can't happen now.
That can't happen now. You've nailed the process.
Well, yeah, a lot of things have changed. Like that was my first one. That was in 2016, and I've done 2 a year, and did one. So it's it's probably the tour's changed a little bit since the first one, but essentially the vibe of it's the same, and the reason we're going is the same. And I'm doing one to Nashville in September, and I thought I might as well let people know I can take 10 people on that trip, and I've got 1 spot left. So if anyone's interested, we go to Nashville for 7 days during Americana Fest. Yep. And then we've got a Wednesday and a Thursday, sort of a quiet midweek thing. We go to Asheville, North Carolina. There's a little Irish pub there that called the Jack of the Wood that has an old-timey session on the Wednesday night, the bluegrass session on the Thursday, and then we're going to the Bristol Rhythm and Roots Reunion Festival.
Yep.
On the border of Tennessee and Virginia at Bristol there. That's a 3-day festival, and then we go back to Nashville and fly home. So and I'll be driving. I will have a 12-seat transit van. It'll be a bit like a big family holiday. So we've got 1 seat left. So if anyone's interested, denahymusictravel.com is the.
That was what I was going to ask. How can people jump on and do that?
There's a contact form there, and the contact form on that website. All those emails come to me.
Excellent. So let Pete know if you can handle his driving, then you can have the spot. That would be the yeah. So
1 spot left.
1 spot left. So is it the same way to do the trip to Japan? Can they email you and get themselves on? Is there a wait list or anything for your next?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a list. The next trip I'm doing is April next year to Japan.
Yeah.
As a group, I'm going in October just with my wife Ali, but the next group trip will be in April next year. So I've got a few people interested, but likewise, yeah, if anyone's interested, send me a line on Facebook or there's a contact form at denahymusictravel.com or even my website, just petedenahy.com. All those emails come to me, and if they've got any questions, I'll just point them in the right direction, or I can give them a buzz or whatever.
Perfect. Well, before we go any further, I guess for people that don't know you, tell us a bit about where your music started, how you got into music, and where your career began.
Well, when I was a little kid, I learned piano, and I started learning piano when I was about 5 or 6, I think, and then started learning violin when I was 9. So, thanks, Norma. Is it Norma or Noma?
No.
Have I read that right? Where are my $3 reject shop glasses? Noma. Thank you, Noma. So started learning violin, and then I never really practiced violin until I got a bit older. And what happened in the meantime was when I was about 9 or 10, the Man from Snowy River movie and the Far Lap movie came out. And the Far Lap movie in particular, there was something about it, that bond between Tommy Woodcock and Far Lap, and I just really wanted a horse. I got this real yearning to get a horse. And then there was a trainer who lived next door to us in Harcourt in Central Victoria named Bill McKnight. and he was a real old timer, you know, great old horseman, and he used to ride. He rode a lot of thoroughbreds past our place because he had a training license, and he broke a lot of horses in. And he was into camp drafting, and he was president at the time of the Malden Camp Draft Association. And so when I got interested in the horse, and then we got our first ponies when we were kids in 1984, and then we were going to this camp, the Malden Camp Draft. I just sort of thought, oh well, I suppose I should listen to a bit of country music. So I started listening to Slim Dusty, and the funny thing about that was that we didn't get brought up on country music at all, or
Really,
or the regular sort of diet of music, perhaps that the kids at school were on, which was a lot of Oz rock and radio and stuff. We were brought up pretty much on a very classical music diet, you know, when we were kids. So when I started getting interested in Slim. And that was a bit of an accident too. I don't know why it just happened to be Slim Dusty, but I did have access to one of his records when I was a kid. And I started listening to that, and I became a fan, and I loved that sort of that style. And then I went to see Slim when I was 13, and I'd started teaching myself guitar in the meantime, and writing a bunch of immature songs, but sort of all in that style. And then I was 13 when I went to see Slim first, and then I didn't know then that 12 years later I'd be in his band.
yes.
And
Wow.
so that's sort of when the interest in country music started, and then I kept writing, and it took me a while to break out of trying to sound like Slim too. I did that for a lot of years when I was a kid, and it took a long time to break that. You know, when you admire someone as a kid, and you just want to be them, and you want to sing like them, and
Find your own sound.
It was hard work. It was hard work to get my own voice, and I think it's hard for a lot of young kids. You know, every year you go to Tamworth, you see kids. They'll be singing like Casey Chambers, or you know, back in the 90s at Talent Quest and everything. A lot of them were trying to sound like Anne Kirkpatrick and Gina Jeffries, and
Yes.
and it takes a while for them to break out and just sound like themselves, but. So after that, started going to Tamworth a little bit, and then later on, I got a job in a band in Melbourne called the Ploughboys, which was essentially an Irish band. Damien Howard, who was the real driving force behind that, he's the brother of Shane Howard, who Goanna, Solid Rock. So through that, I was the fiddle player in that band, and then. And playing a lot of Irish Celtic sort of stuff, and we started doing all the Irish pubs in Melbourne when there was this big boom on after Riverdance and Lord of the Dance and all that, and we were just sort of playing 5 and 6 nights a week down there, and that became my living. So I moved down to Melbourne, and I'd been playing with the Ploughboys for probably about three years or so, and then I got a call from, and I was going to Tamworth every year.
Yes.
In January. And then I got a call from Rod Coe, who's Slim's producer, and saying that Mike Kerrin, the fiddle player, was going off to North America. He was playing fiddle in an Irish dance show, believe it or not, and they were without a fiddle player. Would I be interested in joining? And I said, of course. I couldn't say no to that. But it did mean leaving the Ploughboys, which was a hard thing because we were a 5-piece band. I was leaving 4 of my best mates, but I had to do it. I couldn't say I'm not going to I'm agreeing. And so Nicholas Bings has just put good on you, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
I'm not watching the screen. I'm doing a little bit of the when you take movies of yourself on your phone and you tend to look at the screen. So when you do a video, your eyes. I'm trying to look at the camera on top of the thing. So instead of
looking down and reading.
very, very professional. But so Rod Coe gave me a call, and then I ended up joining Slim's band in 1998.
Yeah.
And and that sort of started a long relationship with Slim's family, and of course Slim and the band, And we've, Slim died in 2003, so it's now 16 years since he died. And a couple of years ago, we played at the Slim Dusty Slim Dusty Festival in Kempsey. I was booked to play there, and the Travelling Country Band always backs a lot of people there. And I'd contacted the guys before we went up, and I said, look, I'll do some of my own stuff. But I said, how about I finish my set just with 6 or 7 of Slim stuff that we did, we know backwards. We don't have to rehearse and everything. And we did that, and something happened that night. We felt this vibe when I started. We all lifted for some reason. I guess we hadn't seen each other for a while as a band. And I was, we're just doing things like Ringer from the Top End and probably did Lights on the Hill and perhaps Indian Pacific or something. And it just worked really well. And then we decided I got back home and I thought, oh, we should take that on the road. We should do that. And we contacted Joy and said, look, would you be okay with us sort of taking the Travelling Country Band out on the road, and we're essentially doing just slim stuff. And she was really happy with that, and we sort of and Joy got right behind it, and Annie Kirkpatrick's been right behind it, and we're not sort of on the road doing a heap of shows, but we're doing a few things, and we've done a few gigs now, and we've got some coming up in Victoria soon that are starting slow. We've got one sold out. I'm not too sure about Geelong. Albury on Sunday the 2nd of June. That's sort of moving pretty well. It sold out last year, so yeah, it's a lot of fun. So that's a little bit of history, and in the meantime, I've been writing my own stuff, and I guess your whole outlook on the music business and how you run your own show changes as you get older. I mean, I would say my biggest influence in this business of entertainment would be the late Jeff Mack, who wrote "I've Been Everywhere."
Yep.
And he passed away a year before last.
Yeah.
And he was like a brother to me, even though he's 50 years older than me, and taught me so much. There was stuff that things on stage, I imagine, like stagecraft and how to communicate pardon me, with an audience, but also just sort of everyday things about, I guess, about your approach. Not to get too. It's very easy to sometimes to get a little bit carried away with the bright lights and everything. Not that happens. That doesn't happen to me very much. But you've got to keep your feet on the ground. I mean, it's another job. It's a job that we've got to do. But it is. I've got to say, I wouldn't be doing anything else. I love doing what I do. I feel very, very lucky to be able to do what I do. Sometimes I think, I wonder what I would do if something happened and I couldn't play. Or I wasn't able to do it. I guess I don't know. I don't really have much to fall back on. I can plait stock whips, and that's got me out of trouble over the years. But yeah, I don't know. I've got a nice stout in my fermenter right beside here. It's ready to bottle.
Can start selling
it homebrew, but yeah.
Oh dear. I've got a message here. I can't see who it's from. Who's that from? Gary has said, hi, Pete and Ali from Mally.
Oh, Gary's a photographer from... are you still in Mansfield, Gary? Well, let's see if we can get an answer.
See if he writes back. So the reason that when I first saw you playing was actually in 1998 when you started touring with Slim. And the moment that stands out about me in your career and how I remember you would be you looked a bit different back then. You had glasses on and some things sticking out of your head, and you did some head fly.
Yeah, of course, Danny. That you're talking about something that happened about 20 kilograms ago.
20 kilograms ago.
For me, okay. 20 kilograms ago.
Yes, that's how.
The reason I've got a cap. I mean, look at this. this is how I look without a cap on, you know. And that's vanity for you right there.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
sort of thinking that, looking at me and thinking, well, Easter's over. But so where was that? Whereabout was that in Launceston?
In Launceston, yes. That was in Launceston.
Okay. Yeah. So that would have been at the theatre there, was it?
Yeah, it would have been at. That was actually no. I think that was by that stage. I think he was actually.
Oh
playing
no, that was the casino.
Yeah, by that stage he was playing at the casino, and I'll never forget that moment because from then on I knew who Pete Denahy was, but I never ever pictured you without the thing sticking out of your head. So that's what I thought you wore all the time. So,
well, that was a lovely gig at the country club because we didn't have to actually walk outside. We had our rooms in the casino, and we just walked up the corridors and in backstage at that room. And there was the health club down there with a lovely sauna and spa and everything. And we'd always have about 2 or 3 days there. I think sometimes we did a couple of shows. So there was an old, I hope, well, she's possibly not listening, but there was an old girl called Shirley down at the club. And she had really strong hands. And I used to go down there and get a back massage off Shirley in the health club. You know, it was part of the, it was an added thing we had to pay for it from the country club. But it was a lot. She did a great job, and then I'd just jump in the sauna or spa or whatever. And I remember that. But what a lot of people probably don't realise is, thank you, Brendan. Thank you very much. The old Petrolhead Fly, that took me about 10 minutes to write, and it's been my most requested song ever. But the country club, Launceston Country Club, was where that was where we had the last ever Slim Dusty show with the band that we've got now.
Yeah.
So never would have thought that you know, people might have thought Slim's last show might have been sort of Outback Queensland or something, but it was in Tassie.
Yeah,
and,
it was a really good.
Yeah, we had a photo taken on the steps of the country club with the whole crew. You know, all the production crew and the merchandise crew and the band, and Slim and Joy and Anne, I'm pretty sure were there. And I remember Rod Coe that morning. He said, "I got a feeling about this. I got a feeling about this photo." And that was the last one that was taken of the lot of us. I mean, naturally, I saw. You know, we saw Slim and Joy after that, or saw Slim after that. The last time I saw Slim was probably about a month before he died. And I just popped around to his place. I was in Sydney, and I rang Anne and I said, "Oh, do you reckon I'd be all right to come and see Slim?" She said, "Yeah, sure, come and beautiful day, come and have a cup of tea out the back." And that was the last time I saw him.
Last time.
So, yeah.
Launceston. It's interesting.
Sorry, what was that?
It was also Barry Thornton was also his last show. I'm pretty certain was here in Launceston as well. So it's one of those towns. Sorry.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Would that have been the Italian club?
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
that's
right. Yeah, I've never actually been there, but I know there's a lot of shows that have happened there. Yeah.
Yes, they do a lot of shows up there, and that was his last show down here, and it's just one of those places. Don't come here.
Yeah. Well, it's a great part of the world, you know. I think it's Launceston. I mean, Avondale's sort of, well, it's not that far out, is it? It's almost just like an outer suburb in some place. But,
it is.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful part of the world. I mean, I know the Wolf Brothers don't have any intentions of sort of moving away from there. I love that they keep going back to Tassie. Those boys.
It's lovely. It's a very hard place to leave. Very hard.
Well, pardon me, I got a bit of a cough while I was away, but they've been great. Those boys to me. I've got to say, you know, Nick's come up to a few. Oh, as you know, you've seen Nick and Tom. You know, I've had a gig in Sheffield, and Tom and Ali have driven all the way up from down Hobart Way and come up to the gig and then driven home. You know, so. because I did a year on the road with Lee Koenigan, and I got to know those boys.
Quite.
And very funny. So funny. They're lovely guys. The whole band, you know. But,
Absolutely.
And I have a lot of fun with them when I see them. I don't see them much, but these days. But they do a little bit of distilling too, I think. Essential oils.
I wanted to actually ask you a little bit, because you have so much different things. You have so much country music, you've got bluegrass music, but you've got your comedy side. And I think your comedy side certainly stands out to a lot of people. You had Sort of Don't Know Nothing with one of probably your biggest comedy hits. Was that 2007 that sort of went crazy for you?
Yeah, it's about then. Yeah, 2008. Yeah, around about there.
Yes. So where do you get your ideas from? Because you do have some very interesting ideas, nappies and shopping trolleys.
Yeah. Look, that's the hardest part for me, is the ideas. You know, if you talk to someone like Graham Connors or Sarah Story, just lives up the road here now. I've had this conversation with her too, and she Sarah knows what I'm talking about, but there are people around who are just prolific writers. They're just writing all the time. You know, someone like Luke O'Shea or I was thinking today about, you know, Melinda Schneider many years ago, saying, I'm doing an album, and I said, have you got enough songs? And she said, well, I've been writing all year. She said, I've got about 60 songs. I've cut it down to 15, and I'm thinking, man, she's got 60 songs. Whenever I do an album, I've never got enough. You know, I'm always trying to, and I don't take other people's songs generally. I write my own. When I'm not looking for songs or anything, but I want to write my own. But I'm not prolific. I think a lot of people think that I just can write songs like that. I can jot stuff down, but I've really got to. I'm a bit lazy with the writing, I'm going to say. You know, I was thinking the other day, actually yesterday, I was thinking, right, I've really actually got to make a point of writing a song a week at least. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be crap, absolute crap, and it probably will be, but just write a song every week, because you really do. It does help to practice writing. It's like riding a bike, you know, playing an instrument or whatever. You can't just sort of go for months and months or years and then all of a sudden write a hit. Some people can, you know, I'm sure, but I can't. I really do need to practice it. And but it's you know, I have funny things. I get occasionally sent songs, and I've never used a song I've been sent. That's not saying that the songs that I'm sent aren't any good. There's varying levels of quality there. But I've had some funny experiences, because I know, you know, I can get sent a song and I think, well, that's well written, it's good, but it's not me. It wouldn't suit me. I can't hear myself singing that or whatever. And I had a funny experience one time with a bloke, and he sent me a song, and it wasn't a bad song. It wasn't something I'd record, but it was well written. I thought it was actually surprisingly well written, and I thought, oh, it's a lot better than most of the stuff that gets sent. And in the letter, he said, you may not want to use this, you know, and I understand that. And I thought, oh, well, it's all right. So I thought I'll give him a buzz. And I rang him up, and I said, oh, thanks very much for sending the song, and appreciate that. I said, look, I'm not looking for songs. I write my own stuff, but thanks very much. And I thought, well, because he'd said to me, you know, you may not want to use it, I thought, oh, that's okay. And then he said, you do something with it, won't you? And I said, oh no, well, I'm not really looking for anything at the moment. He said, all right, see ya. Bang. And that was so. So you got to be careful.
Got to be careful.
I don't have people now.
So tonight, I know that you've got your guitar sitting next to you. Would you be interested in doing a song for us, and what would you choose?
Look, I'll do. Does it have to be a comedy, or are you happy with?
It doesn't have to be. It can be whatever you would like.
Oh, actually, I do have a well, it's probably a nice setting. I'll just do this song. It's called "Singing Shoes." Have you heard that?
Yes, I love that song. Beautiful
You like
song.
that one? I'll do that because it's going to be a little bit to me too.
I will move
I'll
myself
get my
out
hand.
of the screen. I'll let you have the whole screen.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Singing Shoes. This is one I wrote about an old fellow named the late Reg White from Benalla. He was a great old horseman, and this is about the sound horseshoes make on a sealed road. And I'm playing my lovely guitar built by Joe Gallagher from Albury. Singing Shoes. Hear them shoes and hear them singing down the road. I hear them ringing, rolling wheels on his old dray. That's the sound of waking day. It'll hook you line and sinker, big dark eyes, leather blinker, reins are slack and harness cold, feathers brush the frosty road. Rolling wheels and singing shoes take away my morning blues. Misery will only lose with rolling wheels and singing shoes. Wooden seat is old and creaking, I can hear the wheels are squeaking. Two big horses, 8 big feet, making music on the street. See 'em leaning in their collars, shoes are bright as silver dollars. I don't need the daily news, give me those old singing shoes. Rolling wheels and singing shoes take away my morning blues. Misery will only lose with rolling wheels and singing shoes. Singing shoes that got me dreaming, horsehide in the coldest steaming. Pull 'em up and ease the grip, rest a leg and drop a hip. As the winter days grow colder, I know that he's getting older. One day soon we're gonna lose the music of those singing shoes. Rolling wheels and singing shoes take away my morning blues. Misery will only lose rolling wheels and singing shoes take away my morning blues. Misery will only lose rolling wheels and singing shoes. Rolling wheels and singing shoes.
Wow, I love that song. Absolutely love it.
Thanks, Danny, and thanks. Someone sent a nice message through the song there too. Thanks very much for that.
There's been quite a few messages come through. I can't keep up to them all. So Nick just wants to know, did you know that, well, I think Pete does know that. I think I've heard him mention that before, Nick.
Have you heard that little bit, that song Nicholas is referring to? Oh, you actually burn more calories eating celery than you get from the celery itself. You actually burn more calories eating celery than you get from the celery itself. I've heard somewhere it's a calorie negative food, which is no good if you're in a calorie eating mood. It can be raw, it can be steamed, vitamized or stewed, but you actually burn more calories eating celery than you get from the celery itself. Oh yes, you do. You actually burn more calories eating celery than you get from the celery itself.
Oh, wow. Another song that I wonder where you just suddenly came up with it.
Well, yeah, came up with the title for that before I came up with the song itself. Hang on, I want you to meet someone. Millie, 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 come here, come here. Gotta meet Millie. Come here, Millie. Come here, come on. Come here.
Really well behaved.
He's well trained. Hang on a tick. Millie.
Oh dear. Oh, there he is. There we are.
Now, Millie is the Millie the mongrel.
Really the mongrel.
Millie the Mexican moth munching mongrel. She's she's out of a fox terrier Jack Russell bitch by a chihuahua.
She's camera
And
shy.
she cost a fortune. You're not now. You know you're going live here, Millie.
She's camera shy.
No, she was
She's not
asleep.
sure. Show and tell. Yeah, show and tell with Uncle Pete.
So, just,
Well, we've actually gone well over half an hour, so we better get you to tell us. There's some people wanting to know, have you got any Melbourne shows coming up? We've got, who else is asking for shows? Have you got any shows coming up in Mansfield? Or I know you've got a couple coming up this weekend, don't you?
I'm just trying to think. This weekend coming up, I'm going to be in White Cliffs up the other side of Cobar, Wilcannia. I've got a few festivals coming up. So that's on the 18th of May, and then 24th, I'm doing something out near Holbrook with Sarah Storer.
That'll be great.
That's that's a little fundraiser there.
Yes.
And then I've got to get some details about that. Then the end of May, I'm doing the Bundy Hall in Gippsland with the Travelling Country Band, the Gateway Hotel in Geelong
Yes.
on the I don't know all the dates in front of me, 30th of May, 31st or whatever, the last day of May. No, hang on. No, that's the 1st of June. Sorry, 1st of June. And then 2nd of June, Sunday, it's a matinee show at the Albury Commercial Club. And then the next weekend, I'm going to be up near Moree, playing a little festival up there. I'm great on the dates here, aren't I? In the middle of June, I've got some Melbourne shows. I've got a house concert on June the 15th down near Melbourne, and then a place called The Mantra Kitchen Bar and Studio in sort of Yarraville in Melbourne on the Saturday the 15th, and then Sunday the 16th I've got a house concert in the afternoon down near Hastings in Melbourne. Oh man, I've lost my diary. I don't know where my diary is. And then in July, I'm doing a John Howie tour to Ireland and Scotland.
Oh, wonderful.
Which Becky Cole did last year. And then in August, a few other things in August. September, I'm doing a tour to the States, to which I've got one single ticket left, if anyone's interested. October, my wife and I are going to Japan for a festival in southern Japan.
Wow.
And keep an eye on PeteDenahy.com on the tour day. I've actually got to update a few things there.
Are you heading up to Gympie or to Groundwater again this year?
No, Gympie this year. No,
Groundwater?
You're doing Denny Ute Muster though.
Denny Ute Muster, wonderful.
Denny Ute Muster, yeah. So that'll be a big one again. Tim McGraw's playing there this year. Excellent. Carrie Underwood was there last year. So I do a gig at the day stage down there, and then I MC the main stage.
Yeah, you're MCing, aren't you, as well, which will be a whole different show in itself. Gary,
I got to talk to Carrie Underwood last. Oh, Mansfield, Gary. I haven't got anything. I haven't got anything planned for Mansfield just yet. I'll have to get down there again. Nothing planned yet. But because I'm not a big touring show, it doesn't always take a lot from me. Like if anyone out there thinks, when are you coming to our area? Sometimes you can throw together a group. If you can get if you reckon you can get 40 or 50 people along to a little hall or a backyard or a shed or somewhere, or I can come along there. I'm working solo most of the time. Sometimes it's with Aaron McLean on double bass. That just beefs it all up a little bit and makes it a nice, more of a, even though it's just the two of us, we can sound more like a band. And we do sort of bluegrass and original stuff, a bit of comedy and a few tunes. So yeah, if you want us to come and play, get in touch, let us know, and we'll see if we can work something out. Logistically doesn't always work. But sometimes it can, So I'm not like, it's not. Those things can work out. Jeff Bell, Lang Entertainment, often does most of my bookings. But if you drop us a line, we can sort of see if we can work something out. I'm not, because I'm a sort of small act. I don't have to be. I'm not touring all the time.
Yes.
Like the big acts,
Although you don't sound like you've got much time at home for the rest of the year by the sound of your travel.
The way most weekends working, which is sort of how it is for me. Touring's changed now. When I started working with Slim back in the late 90s, we'd be going out for between 4 and 6 weeks at a time. And I remember Slim saying at the time, "Oh, it's nothing like the old days. We'd be out on the road for 7 weeks and 7 months of the year." And but now 6 weeks would be a long, long tour. I remember when I was doing Lee Kernighan's show a few years ago, we'd be out on the road for 10 days, and that was a long tour.
Yes. Yeah.
Now people unless you're someone like Andrew Swift and Greta Zilla or Fanny Lumsden, who are out on the road a lot, they're really hard workers out on the road.
Never home.
A lot of people are really touring. Like you'll get tour dates, but a lot of people are flying. They'll go out on a Thursday or Friday and they're back home Sunday night or Monday.
Yeah. That's right.
Like when we were touring with Sarah Storer back in 2004, which doesn't seem that long ago, but we were out for weeks.
Weeks at a time.
Yeah. But that doesn't sort of happen so much now.
No,
bands are smaller a lot of the time. It's just, I don't know what's changed, but
I think a lot of it is a lot of artists have work through the week. I think a lot of artists work 5 days a week and then they tour for 2 and 3 days. I think that's sort of how
some do, but some do. But there's a lot of people, a lot of full timers.
True.
People like Andrew Swift. I mean, no, well, he's touring all the time. They're on the road. I guess, and for me too, that's a bit of a choice. I don't want to be sort of away. I don't have to be away so much, so I'm lucky in that regard.
Yeah. Well, we have gone for a bit over our 30 minutes, well over actually, so I'm sorry to have kept you all night. But we probably should let people start heading to bed because some people have to work tomorrow.
Good night. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. If anyone has any more questions, shoot us a message, either shoot it through to Country Kickback, or I'm sure Pete's got his page up and running. Make sure you've jumped along and liked Pete's Facebook page and follow him through his website as well. And don't forget, you better hurry and get in for that one ticket to go across with him in September. But thank you for joining us. And next week.
Thank you very much. And we'll see you down in Evandale before too long, I hope.
You certainly will. We were just talking about that earlier. Everybody's been asking me, when are you coming back and when are we going to get you to do a show? So we're going to have to talk and organise something. I've had a lot of questions.
Thanks, Danny. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next Monday. And keep the photos coming of all the shows that you've been at. We love to see it. See you later.